because there's a tray it slides out, but of course that tray was rusted and it wouldn't move out, and so you had to kind of reach in and lift it out. But this battery weighed 150 pounds or something. It was the most massive battery you've ever seen. And so I found another trucker who was nice enough to help me pull it out, and I was like, I'm driving back, I'm turning this into a home. Is there any way you can help me with tools? Because I flew on a plane, so it's not like I could bring tools and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I got a little, and all it was, just a little crescent wrench. So we got it taken off and put the new one in, and it started right out, boom, like bam. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the smaller battery, but the engine's good, we're good to go. So then I took off, and I was St. Louis. In St. Louis, wherever the rush hour is, that's what it was. And I was going through the city during that rush hour, and there's all these, it's very, from my memory, it's so complicated with, there's on-ramps and off-ramps to keep going, to continue to go on 80 or 70, I can't remember which one ever it was, 70 or 80 going east to west. There's all these different interchanges, and it was and the cars were just flying by me, and I was just like white-knuckled, like, holy crap! And they're boom, boom, and then I had to get off, and I was 2 lanes over to get off, and so I'm trying to merge over with this monstrous beast, and I can't see back, and oh my gosh, it was so butt-puckeringly fun. And so anyway, I got through that, and I was just spent, I was just wasted. But I think I drove till about midnight, and I was so exhausted. I finally stopped at midnight, pulled into a truck stop, and, a rest area. I pulled into a rest area and just crashed and laid down, and I was all laid down and ready to sleep and just falling asleep, and a semi pulls up beside me full of cows. And then all I could hear was stomp, crunk, crink, 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 and the shocks and everything squeaking from these cows moving around in the back of this, big semi. And I laid there for like 45 minutes, like, okay, just ignore it, you can sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was like, oh my gosh, these cows are so loud. And so I had to get up and move to another part, and then I fell asleep. And so I got about 5 hours sleep maybe. And but I was energized to get back on Sunday so that I could get there and safely. So got back on the road and booked it, and I drove like the full tank. I drove the full tank of gas, and I was about 3 hours outside of my hometown in Colorado, and I stopped for a rest and just walked around this rest area to stretch my legs and get my brain, and stretch it and all that stuff, get my brain ready again. Got back in, it wouldn't start. Not the battery this time. It was like it was trying to start, and it was just going and going, and there was this weird warning light it's like I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea. There was no like wording that really made sense to me. Wouldn't start. I tried it. I was like, I'm not going to kill the battery. So then I walked away for 10 minutes. Wouldn't start. Again, I tried it again. So then I called my father-in-law and said, look, can you look up for me on the internet what's going on here? It won't start. I got to get back. I can't tell what's wrong with this thing. It's getting fuel, blah, blah, blah. And so he's trying to look it up online. And he's like, okay, I'll call you back. And this is before I had a smartphone. I just had a little flip phone. So there's no looking it up myself. And I was waiting, and about 20 minutes later, I was like, I'm going to try one more time. So I went in, vroom, it started right up. And I was like, holy crap, woohoo! And so I got on the phone and said, hey, don't worry about it. I'm not stopping this thing until I get home now. I'm not turning it off again. And so I got on the road and booked it back. And everything was fine. I got back just fine and never had that problem ever again. In the 13 months I had it, never had that problem again. No idea what it was, but it was kind of scary. So I get back and pull it up in front of the house, and it was a big street. In Colorado, we have huge streets. So there's a bike lane. There's a place to park. So here's a road. Over here you have the parking lane. Then you have a place for bikes. Then you have 2 lanes for cars. Then you have another bike lane. Then you have a lane. Then you have a slot for more parking on the other side of the street. It's this huge wide street. Totally. So anyway, I get back, pull it in, and within 12 hours of pulling it in, a neighbor had already called the city, and I already had a sticker on the screen saying, this vehicle will be towed, it's not allowed to be here, you need to move it. So I called them up at work. I took a long lunch, and I called them, and they're like, no, you can't have that thing, it's too huge. I'm like, I know it's too big, I just need a little time to get it set and get it all legal, and then I can move it. But and I talked to her, and I wouldn't get her off the phone. Like, I was so kind and like so polite, and she did not want to help me. She's like, no, get it out of here. I'm gonna be back tomorrow, and it better be gone. And so I just I wouldn't let her get off the phone. I was just like, is there any way we can do something for a week or 2 weeks, just long enough for me to get the seats out, or for me to work on it, and then so it gives me time to find a place and get the insurance set up, because I only have temporary insurance because I just bought this vehicle, and so I really don't want to be driving it around until I get those things taken care of, and I need to get the title and the plates and all that stuff. And so and she finally said, okay, look, that's fine, you're a nice guy, you've been very polite, I'm going to give you 2 weeks, and she gave me the date. You got 2 weeks. If it's not out of there in 2 weeks, I'm towing it the very next day. And I'm like, no problem. I will have it all done. Insurance will be taken care of by then. I'll find a place to store it legally. And she goes, you better not. She's like, I better not find this thing parked anywhere else on the street. She goes, I know what that thing is huge. I know what it looks like. I'm like, no, I'll find a storage lot to put it in. No problem, ma'am. And so I kept it there for 2 weeks, and I was able to do the initial work, ripping out the floors, ripping out the seats, taking the stop sign off the side, things like that. I could rip it apart. And then I found a storage place that was really reasonably priced, and I did the rest of the build there. And so it took like 2.5, from September 1st, September 15th to December 31st, we had driven away. So 2.5 months. I worked 40 hours a week at a job, and I was working 30 to 40 hours a week on the bus. So I was working about 70 to 80 hours a week continuously, and I just didn't stop. I was driven. I was moving into that thing by December 31st of that same year, and so for 3 months I busted it out, and it turned out really well. So there's my story of getting the bus home, and it was a really fun adventure, but it was a little scary at times and a little hair-raising, but I got it all done, and it was a great. Lived there for 13 months, and boy, was it an ever fun thing. It got me definitely headed down that minimalist road for sure. All right, everybody, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again later.